before the official confirmation of President Muhammadu Buhari's death in 2025. Before world leaders sent in their condolences and Nigeria entered a period of mourning. There was one voice that warned us. Back in 2017, a fiery sermon echoed from the pulpit of Living Faith Church. In that message, Bishop David Oyedepo questioned something most feared to even whisper about.
If Buhari double in Sudan and press him into service as Nigeria's president, what? That representative of the Jubril family, that is the supposed impostor, having discovered the gigantic swindle, suddenly showed up in Abuja the other day and demanded to be compensated with a power-sharing arrangement at the federal level in perpetuity, plus 50% of Nigeria's oil revenues for 10 years in the first instance. Now, that was on the back page of the Nations of Tuesday, 27th of November. Failing this, they would tell their story to the whole world. It further stated that the Nigerian authorities have entered into frantic negotiations with Jubril's family to head off what is sure to be the world's dirtiest and worst kept secret, he said. And he concluded by saying that Britain is mediating its end. So far, to my knowledge, no official statement has refuted this claim, which simply implies Nigeria may truly be up for sale. The question is, has Nigeria now suddenly become a population of fools? I believe it's time to come away from our slumber and salvage this nation from slavery. If this evil tide is not dealt with quickly and decisively, Nigeria may be about to be recolonized the second time, and this time by another African country. What a shame and what a misfortune that would be. God forbid. You know, when we pray, we must be sensitive to the ongoings.
Had Nigeria's president died long ago? He said, if someone says the president is dead, and 6 months pass with no response, it means something is fishy.
Buhari is dead and buried in a shallow grave in Saudi Arabia.
His words shook the airwaves, stirred controversy, and triggered reactions from the high and mighty. Now, years later, and with the tragic end of the Buhari era officially recorded, many are beginning to revisit that sermon and ask, was Bishop Oyedepo right all along? Flashback, the rise of the Jubril theory. To understand Oyedepo's reaction, we must first go back to one of the strangest conspiracy theories in Nigerian history, the Jubril from Sudan theory. It all began in 2017. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, shocked the nation when he declared that the real Muhammadu Buhari had died during a medical trip to the United Kingdom. According to Kanu, a body double, Jubril al-Sudani, was brought in from Sudan to impersonate the president. The claim caught fire instantly. Within days, Nigerian Twitter and Facebook were flooded with memes, side-by-side image comparisons, slowed-down video clips, and amateur forensic analysis. Some showed how Buhari's left ear allegedly changed. Others zoomed in on his walking style, voice pitch, even his handwriting. The Nigerian government remained largely silent. When questions were raised, they were either ignored, deflected, or dismissed as baseless. The lack of a decisive, transparent rebuttal only added fuel to the theory. What began as a wild political claim turned into a cultural phenomenon. Jokes were made. Skits were filmed. But deep down, many Nigerians weren't laughing. Something didn't sit right. Bishop Oyedepo's 2017 outburst. While the nation debated and mocked the Jubril theory, one spiritual leader decided not to stay silent. In a Sunday service in 2017, Bishop David Oyedepo stood before his congregation and thundered a question that stunned everyone. Someone said the president is dead, and nobody denied it for over 6 months? Something is fishy. He continued. This country is being recolonized. Nigeria is in trouble. His tone was sharp. His words were deliberate. He wasn't making jokes. He wasn't entertaining conspiracy. He was issuing a warning. This wasn't your average pastor trying to please the government. Oyedepo had always been known to speak truth to power. But this was different. He wasn't just angry, he was burdened. Many wondered, was he speaking out of frustration over political oppression? Or was it spiritual discernment? While many other top church leaders avoided the matter, either out of fear or political loyalty, Oyedepo broke rank. In a nation where pastors often sit comfortably with presidents, his voice was a rare dissent. He did not claim to have insider information. He did not speak as a politician. But his tone and clarity forced millions to rethink what was really going on. And in the minds of many, Bishop Oyedepo became the first religious leader to openly raise the red flag. Public reaction at the time. As expected, Bishop Oyedepo's comments exploded across the internet. Some Nigerians celebrated him. Finally, a man of God who isn't afraid, they said. Papa Oyedepo is speaking for the people. In many corners, his words gave voice to the silent suspicions of the masses. Others, however, were not impressed. Critics accused him of stirring unnecessary tension. They said he should face the pulpit and not delve into conspiracy theories. Some even suggested he was doing it for political reasons, perhaps angry about government policies that affected churches. Among fellow pastors? Silence. Most prominent preachers never commented publicly on the Jubril theory, nor on Oyedepo's outburst. It was as though the subject had become untouchable. Politicians and political analysts danced around the issue on national TV, careful not to seem too aligned with Konu's claims, or too dismissive of Oyedepo's sermon. But despite all the noise, one thing was clear. The bishop had touched a nerve. He said what many were thinking, but were too afraid to say. And now, with the events of 2025 permanently sealed in Nigerian history, one can't help but ask, did we ignore a prophetic warning? Or were we simply afraid of the truth? 2025, the shocking confirmation. On July 13, 2025, the Nigerian government officially announced the death of President Muhammadu Buhari, years after wild rumors had circulated about his supposed death and replacement. The nation was stunned, not just by the news, but by what followed immediately after. Social media erupted. Not just with condolences, but with flashbacks. Flashbacks to a moment that many had forgotten, or chosen to ignore. Old videos of Bishop David Oyedepo began to surface again. The fiery clip where he cried out, "Jubril from Sudan," was reposted thousands of times. Comments flooded in. The bishop saw this years ago. This man warned us. Now we understand what he meant. Memes, threads, and video edits revived a conversation that was once dismissed as mere conspiracy. And then, the question arose across living rooms, churches, and online forums. Was the truth hidden all along? What seemed like a baseless outburst in 2017 now looks like a moment of insight, or at least suspicion that history just validated. Oyedepo's spiritual discernment or political opposition? But deeper questions emerged. Was Bishop Oyedepo simply reacting politically? After all, he had been openly critical of Buhari's administration, citing incompetence, religious bias, and rising insecurity. Or was there something more? A prophetic discernment, the ability to see beyond what others see. Many Nigerian church leaders avoided speaking about politics altogether. Some chose diplomacy. Others chose silence. But Oyedepo took the pulpit and declared war on deception, corruption, and silence. In a country where the line between activism and prophecy is often blurred, his outburst sparked confusion. Was this the voice of a bold patriot? Or the warning of a spiritual sentinel? Either way, his words now echo with clarity in the light of 2025's shocking confirmation. What we've learned, looking back in 2025. Looking back, there's no denying one painful truth. Nigeria ignored a voice that tried to sound the alarm. In a country full of prophets and pastors, only a few dared to speak out against the powers that be. And even fewer were willing to lose popularity, face ridicule, and be labeled controversial. This moment forces a national reflection. What role should the church play in the national conscience? Is it enough to pray for leaders and avoid political matters? Or should spiritual leaders boldly challenge the systems that oppress, mislead, or manipulate? The silence of many during times of national deception was deafening. And now, in hindsight, that silence stands as a warning to future generations. When spiritual leaders speak, we must listen with discernment. And when they are silent in the face of darkness, a nation stumbles blindly. Who's next to speak truth to power? Bishop Oyedepo spoke. Nigeria laughed. But time has vindicated the voice we once ignored. It wasn't about being right. It was about being courageous. He stood when others sat today. He shouted when others whispered. And while the nation moved on, time stood still, waiting for the truth to catch up. Now that it has, the real question isn't about the past. It's about the future. Who will be the next voice to speak truth to power, even when it's unpopular? Who will stand at the altar and challenge injustice, no matter the cost? And more importantly, will the nation listen? Or will history repeat itself again? Because in the face of lies, silence is never neutral.